Right guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman Studio. Today we've got Justin in the chair. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
You good?
Yep.
Good. So what's the plan? What are we doing today?
So I had a couple ideas on like basically what I want to do with the back.
Yeah.
So I've been going basically between like low taper on the sides and the back, or then growing out a mullet, like over and over and over. And then on the top, either I get like, like an inch off the middle part, then like keep the overall middle part, or I do like a shorter textured fringe.
Okay.
But I noticed that usually like when I do a textured fringe, I don't really have like the volume because I'm assuming because of my hair type. Okay. And I don't really get like the volume where it's like kind of like sits on the front of your forehead and like kind of goes up a little bit. Okay. Okay. So I'm thinking that I have a couple of reference pictures of like in the back I might want to do like a point, like a burst fade. Okay. And keep the side, low and all that, and then keep the top maybe like something that's like more versatile, where it's like either like a short middle part, or you can also kind of wear it like forward on your forehead, like a fringe type of thing. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, let's have a little few ideas then. So I had like a couple like reference pictures. All right, okay. Of basically like how I want the back to be. Yeah. Coming down to a point. Okay. Yeah, probably like something around this, and then with the top, I'm thinking something close to like this. Oh, okay, yeah. Where it's still kind of like a middle part, but then you can also wear it, more on your, like above the eyebrow. I mean, the thing is with the middle part, it's either cut into one or it's not. That's the thing, because I don't think that's been cut into a middle part. I think that he's just separated that at the front, because it doesn't look like it through the top. Yeah. Because it's too square on the sides for a middle part. Usually if you're doing a middle part, you tend to create a more triangular shape to emphasize the middle. So the middle goes shorter and it gets longer through here. So the corners sit heavy and it creates this triangle, which that doesn't look like, that looks very square to me. So I reckon it'll just be down to how you style it more than the actual cut on the top. I think it'd actually be more uniform. Yeah. And then you break the front away yourself, maybe like that or something, you know what I mean? And have the rest of the texture. I think that's probably more like it. But I'd definitely take the length off the fringe up above the eyebrows though, for sure. Yeah. Because that's where it kind of sits a bit better for you. Because that will take away that just sort of central part, if you get what I mean. But yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to go for, we can adapt. We can adapt to them, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think just like this is like more like inspiration, but however it like best fits my face and like my hair type and all that, and like how it's currently cut. Yeah, that's like basically just like some type of like textured fringe type thing that can kind of be parted into a middle part if I really want to. Yeah. So I guess like with this would be more of like putting some texturizing powder and then like getting some trying to get some volume, I guess. So when you talk about the volume that you want, just explain to me what your volume means to you. Basically just something that doesn't like sit like flat on my forehead, and instead it has like a little bit of lift off. Something that like... So like the hair flicks off the forehead more so. There's a little, so there's a little more support in the front, and like kind of comes forward and up. So are you thinking you want something to kind of come up and off your face kind of thing, like a flick off the face? Is that what you're thinking? I mean, you've seen on like TikTok and all that, like that like textured fringe where usually when it's with people with like wavier hair though. Yeah. So I guess like as close to that, trying to achieve something like that, even if I need like products or something. Okay. But then if I don't have products in, then I can just have like, either something that just like sits naturally on my forehead a little bit, but then also I can part if I really wanted to. Yeah, we can try and do that. Yeah, I think to get that type of finish that you're thinking of, it's just very heavily textured. So the fringe is layered in. Do you know what I mean? So you layer the fringe in, so you see the individual layers at the front. That's what you can then manipulate with heat. To get that finish. You'll get it with powder, but you'll get a better look with heat, because then you can use the round brush and you can really get some. I don't know if it's volume though. That's more like you creating a shape to the front more than volume. You know what I mean? So volume is more like when the hair's big. That's not really, if you want the fringe, you can't. If you're gonna get volume in a fringe, it tends to start higher up at the root and then drop over. That's what volume on a fringe will be. I think you're thinking of more separation. And having it kind of like sort of moving about on the front and not just sitting flat against the forehead is what I think you mean. Yeah, like something with like a lot of texture, especially in the front. And you could like, where you can see the different layers, you can kind of see some movement, more than just like laying flat. The only thing is with that, parting it. Very heavily textured haircuts don't work well as parts. Partings are generally more longer layers. So you might have a compromise on the parting straight away. Yeah, I think it might not necessarily part straight away. The part I can honestly kind of go away from. Okay. I've been like in and out of the middle part for like 3 years already, so I think I'm down to like change it up a little bit. Have like something shorter, something of a fringe. So yeah. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, no worries, we can do that. Yeah. All right. So this is more of a tailored haircut for you because you're mixing. I'm like mixing like different elements in. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. Well, we can do that, mate. Yeah, for sure. Fade into something. Yeah. So you don't want to line, because you can get haircuts like this with sharp line. Yeah. You don't want that. You want to just fade it into that. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Cool. All right. Cool, man. And just like keep it relatively low, because I do like it lower, because then I feel like it fades into, or like it transitions nicely into like the longer hair on top.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you seem to know your stuff, man.
Yeah, I've been watching the channel a long time.
Oh, okay.
I was also like ever since COVID, I started like cutting my own hair, cutting my friend's hair, all that.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. You seem to have like quite a good terminology there, mate.
Yeah. I think the whole like burst fade versus like like a mullet would be like one thing. It's just like it's really just like a type of like I guess mullet, but then it comes to a point instead of like fraying at the back.
Yeah, it's more of a this what you're getting done now is what we used to do in like the mid 2000s. It's like a V cut.
Oh,
so it's kind of coming down.
I've heard
That's
about,
basically
the V cut.
It's like basically like a bit of a faux hawk. It's not actually a mullet. I don't know why that's being used. It's not actually a mullet. Mullet is when there's length at the nape.
Yeah.
There's no length at the nape on this one apart from the middle. So it's not actually a mullet. It's probably more of a faux hawk if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So a bit of a kind of mix on a mohawk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a fake mohawk, as we call it. But no, that's probably what it probably more is. So when you say you've been going for like mullets, in what sense have you been opting for a mullet? Have you been leaving the whole back long, have you, and stuff like that?
Yeah. I grew out the entire back for a couple around maybe I'd say like half a year to like 9 months. So it got pretty long. And I would just get like tapers as like maintenance on the side just to keep the side shorter.
Yeah.
So I've been doing like either like a lower or mid taper on the side and just like keeping the back like letting it grow up all the way out.
Cool.
Let the back grow out until around like May, June-ish, and then for the summer months I usually get like shorter hairstyle and let it grow back out again until next summer.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so these kind of haircuts are slightly more like hybrid kind of creative haircuts in a sense, as we call them. They're not ones you'd sort of opt for if you're trying to create like the perfect face shape or you're trying to complement certain parts of the head or whatever. They're just cutting because you like them and they're cool styles. Do you know what I mean? So they're not necessarily the ones you go for if you're looking to try and do something like that's like the perfect cut for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start on the back and sides first.
Alright.
And then I'm gonna cut into the top. I'm gonna start by sectioning off the top into the back and sides because we're going to be focusing purely on the back and sides to start with. Now, this is obviously going to be cut into something slightly different. So obviously the previous haircut isn't made for this this current hairstyle we're going to be cutting into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the middle down at the back because as you know, it's sort of like a lot shorter on all them haircuts at the back. It's almost like you've grown out a fade and you've just took the fade lower. That's kind of what they look like on them, the length of the haircuts at the back on them. So what we'll do is we'll cut the back and sides down a touch first and then we'll put the fade in from that bottom bit there. So I'm just going to dry this off slightly. I'm not going to make it completely dry. I'm going to dry it off slightly. I'm going to work on the back and sides first so we get that same length throughout the back and sides and get rid of the undercut that's already currently in there as well. So the way I approach this haircut is I look at it as though I'm doing a normal back and sides. So if anyone out there who's never done one of these haircuts before, I think to myself, right, I'm looking to do a normal sort of clipper over comb back and sides or a 2 back and sides or something. So what I do is I kind of cut the back and sides into a length that I would be keeping it to, and then I work the burst fade around it. Because that's basically, if you look at all the previous haircuts on them pictures, it's like as though the back and sides has grown out here, but it's then just shaved into a point. So that's the kind of thing I'm trying to reflect. Otherwise, it becomes too much of a faux hawk like that, which would change the overall look that we're trying to achieve. So it's a bit like sort of bulk removal to start, and then kind of cutting it into what would be like a grown out clipper cut, and then putting the fade in from there. But we need to keep it quite square through the corners here as well, for that top length to lie on top of. So just something a bit like that, just a kind of bulk removal, just to kind of set the shape, is what we've done there on the sides. So we're changing the shape now. So we're taking it away from that center part, and we're going for a more kind of textured top heavy, with a nice fringe that can fall into something a bit different as well on a daily basis. A lot of length on this side here. There's the other side. I'm starting with number 2. Put this in the height that we want to do. So keep it nice and low. And this is just putting the base in there. For the cut. And what I want to ideally do is kind of keep a corner through here as well. Because keeping that corner will allow me to balance the top with it being longer. Really nice to see these haircuts start coming a bit more on trend in the UK though. I think I really like them, to be fair. I think they're really cool hairstyles.
Yeah,
I really do. I think we're just on a bit of a sort of trend of medium to longer hair at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time as well. Now I wonder if any American barbers can kind of back me up on this a little bit, but obviously the common thing that we always hear is that a lot of American barbers tend to use clippers more than scissors, right?
Yeah,
it tends to be a common
too.
yeah. It tends to be a common thing. I don't know why. I don't know where it come from. I don't know why people say that, but that's what I always see in the comments, or I always hear from other people telling me, right? I'd love to know what people think of that, because I've always I don't mean that in like a derogatory way. I just mean that in a sort of more of a style way than anything else. American barbers always comment how like UK barbers can't fade and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But maybe that's because like we don't focus purely on fading. I think maybe we focus on like there's quite a few different looks that we tend to focus on. I don't know.
I think it's just like a stylistic thing, honestly.
Yeah.
A lot of people just prefer fades and like short back and sides.
Yeah.
Until recently, but.
So what have you noticed of the trends that's happening over in the States at the moment? Where are you from exactly?
New York.
New York. Okay.
I'm from Queens.
Oh, okay, Queens.
So yeah. I'm like about like an hour away from Manhattan.
So what trends are you noticing that are coming out of the States at the moment? Or are you noticing more so in the States than you're seeing around like here now you're living here?
Yeah, so I would definitely say there's a lot more emphasis on like the whole short back and sides, or even just growing out the back but keeping the sides short.
Oh yeah, really, yeah.
But definitely like every barber has to know how to use their clippers.
Right, okay, yeah.
Less so than like scissor work.
Yeah.
I feel like also in America, like if you do want like a scissor cut, most barbers would not tell you, but like you're probably better off going to like a salon. So because usually like they specialize in the scissor cuts and the longer hair and all that.
Right, okay, yeah, I get you, yeah.
My barbers, especially in the States, you know, they're learning how to use scissors and they're getting pretty good with it. But overall, like I think like the barber culture out there it's just a lot more like clippers than scissors.
Yeah, yeah.
So because that's usually what like is most popular in terms of the haircuts itself. Yeah, I mean it's just like I think it's just a culture thing, honestly. You know, some type of fade in the haircuts.
Yeah.
Or some type of clipper work.
Yeah, I get you, man. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. I've seen like a lot of the times on YouTube or on TikTok or anything else, there's like the old school like gentleman barbershops, and then there's like these like new school ones that like do all these crazy designs and fades and all that.
Yeah,
where they like
definitely.
they put like these crazy lines in.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's always like little, I guess, intricacies to it where, you know, you have all the different types of styles that people like and they all kind of like stick to their niche. I remember my barber in the States, he asked like when you go to a barbershop, what do you really expect in terms of scissor work? And a lot of times, like if you just walk into a barbershop and you ask for like a longer hairstyle, you really don't know what you're gonna get. But people are so used to, I guess, just using clippers and just doing like clipper over comb and stuff like that instead of like layering with scissors and all that.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on like, you know, finding a good shop that's more willing or like already has like the knowledge of cutting longer hair and cutting different hair types and all that.
Do you find there aren't that many in especially like where you live and stuff? Would you say it's a lot more like your sort of like the barbershops you're talking about in Queens especially?
I would say it's definitely changing. I think with the trending like longer hairstyles now, a lot of barbers and just like hairstylists in general, they you know, they need to learn how to use their scissors.
Yeah.
My personal barber, I remember he over like the last like 5 to 7 years, he really just started taking a lot more classes in terms of like salon work and scissor work and all that. Yeah, I would say not every barbershop though is going to be good at cutting longer hair, even though they can all give like a good fade. It's really about like finding like barbershops for your hair type that, you know, would probably know how to cut longer hair.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I would say a lot of the Asian salons and like the Korean salons and stuff like that, they're really, I mean, they're like experts at cutting hair on top with the scissors.
Yeah.
But then their thing again is like they don't really know how to use the clippers as well. So it's really, you know, it's really up to like.
So you'd almost have to go to like
out,
a barber shop to get a fade, and then go to a salon to get a top cut.
Basically, yeah. Not that many barbershops right now can do both, and the ones that can usually are there's like, you know, they'll be booked up for like weeks in advance.
Yeah, because of that. Yeah, because of that. Yeah, of course. So I'm detailing the sideburns and the temple here because I feel like it will make the fade pop a bit more. So generally I always try and do this when I'm doing any fades like this, because this is a creative haircut. This is a haircut that we want to stand out. So I might as well make use of what I've got here in terms of the temple and shaping and stuff to make it stand out a bit more. Now the fading technique on something like this is just down to whatever you can get your angles in. So just try and stick to the same kind of fading technique where you're working up and off. I'm not stretching the blend out too much because I haven't got enough space, but I'm just using the same motion of going in and pulling away, like so. And that helps to shape it into the point a bit more as well, like so. And then I just work on an angle just to get rid of the line and the zero as well, and then flick out. And obviously on Justin's hair, it's very thick, it's very spiky, it sticks out. So the transition goes a touch higher, but just enough that we can still get our fingers through it and still connecting that top as well. Because we still want it quite heavy on the top still. So just keeping that reference in my mind of the guy straight on, and also obviously this bit's pretty much done now. So the reference to the guy that he showed me is straight on. His hair's quite long on top still. Looks like he's got a bit of a wet looking product in there as well, which I kind of like as well. I think it looks quite nice. So we'll do all the fine tuning for the sides and everything when we've cut the top. So I still want to keep that transition area available. Right, so what I'm going to do to this, I'm going to start with the profile guide down the centre, section this off at the back, and work that into the front. So you're happy for us to cut it just above the eyebrows on the fringe, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Now doing this type of section will help to create that layer into the front that we want. So, straight down the centre. Split it. A bit like we're doing the centre part, but we're not. We're doing the centre part, we keep the corners a lot heavier. There we go. So we're looking at that type of section. Straight down the middle. Like that. Okay. I keep some length in there. I'm going to take off about that much towards the back. Take our next section, flip that away, use that as our guide, pick it straight up. Keep working straight. Scoop a little bit away, keep working straight down the centre, keeping it very straight and away from the head. So as you can see, instead of me following the head shape round, I'm creating more length at the front. Because I need to at the minute. So I still want to keep that fringe in play. Just like that. Another section right next to it, same width. So roughly about a finger in width. And using our previous section as the guide. Put that up, and that over, straight up, there's our guide. One straight up. Like so. Pick that up, take a section from the middle, pull out. So we're keeping a corner in here, okay? As you can see, the corner was taken out on the last haircut. It's quite short, and the fringe was left quite long. I transition this in now to the sides. Bring this all the way back, bringing the fringe back as well. And bring a section in from our previous cut section. Start layering this down. Now I start to cut this on a point cut now. So I want this to kind of hang on to the sides a little bit, like so. So we've got our connection already in there. So this section is going to come forwards for Justin's hair. So we're leaving that disconnection at the front. As it pulls forward, you've got the connection and you've got that section just above it. Bring this down, nothing's going to really come off. So what we've done is we've left the corner in the haircut. So on top of versatility, we need length on the top of versatility. We also want it to sit well for Justin in different ways. That's it in there. So you've got all that movement coming into the fringe. We haven't cut the fringe yet. You've got all that movement coming into the fringe. Then we cut the fringe, so you've got all the layers above the fringe as well. So that's what's going to help me to wrap it around the brush and get that flick in there. All right, same again. So section just off centre again, finger width, like so. Go over, there's our guide there. On the guide, see? You can see not much comes off there. Because again, like the other side, the corner was taken out. So this isn't meant to be perfect, but the hair's growing forwards anyway, so you're not going to see that unless you pull it over. You just pull that fringe back, like so. And put this just hang on the eyebrows. Now, to be honest, with Justin's hair type, it's kind of, even when it's wet, it's kind of true to form. It might shrink a touch, but I'm cutting that just a tiny bit below the eyebrow, because when that does dry up, that won't move too much. But what you've got now, because of our sections we were doing before, we've got these sections here that will allow Justin to blow dry into the fringe. See these bits here? They'll blow dry because they come up from further back. And that's that flick that you get on the TikTok haircuts. It's the flick of the fringe. That's where they come from. They don't come from the front, they come from just behind the front.
Yeah, okay, but how short do you want to go? Or do you want it to be a little bit more?
Slide cut into this.
If you liked it last time, then yeah.
This will really help it move about. And you get into that blend as well.
It really drew out better.
I do a lot of my texturizing now as well. So very chunky texture throughout this haircut, so that does fall all over the show.
Because I
I'm doing this section like this, I'm doing this type of texture. I want it to be quite chunky, but I want to force the hair forwards as well. So I'm just going to connect in the crown, bring it to the blend point, and then I'm going to cut it in to shape. And over, like so. We just go across the crown and pull it out as it elevates it slightly. We need to connect the two, so not too much. And that crown falls in nicely. Now with the back here, head down for me. Just going to break this up a little touch as it grows out. It grows out with a bit of texture in. Now I'm going to dry this off, okay? I'm going to dry it off in the shape, and then if I need to add more texture, I will, okay?
Sounds good.
So I'm going to put a little bit of some clay, okay?
Sounds good.
Now I'm drying the clay in because you've got a clay at home, so I want you to show you what you can do with the clay, okay? I'm going to dry a fair amount of this in. I find I like using clays to dry in because it gives hold and it brings out texture, okay? Now what it allows you to do is manipulate the hair a bit more as well, okay? What you do from the crown, you work this into the hair, all the way through the hair, okay? Like that. Just put some in the back just for the sake of it, okay? Right, just using the round brush, high heat but a medium speed. Start by just blow drying it out from the crown to start with, because we want to use the crown for this haircut, okay? We need to utilise the crown. Now, coming forwards, and I'm going to create waves in your hair, okay? Because the waves will create texture, okay? So, high heat, medium speed. What you do is put your brush in, and you wrap it around like this, and you work forwards. You pull out, and you work forwards. And just slowly rotate it, like that. Coming in here, okay? Right down the middle. Now this is a really good way of adding volume and movement to straight hair. And it's not that hard to do. You're just rolling it round and wrapping it round. You see, I'm just rolling it, lifting it up, rolling it. And twisting it as we get to the front. Come that out a touch, and then we dry it like this, and we wrap it around our brush to give a lift at the end. So we get that volume in there, right? Because we're going to wear product to weigh it down, okay? So you start to get these little flicks coming off like that, you see? Scrunch dry it. Now the clay's acting like a styling product right now. Because you can feel it in the hair. You can feel the clay is being dried in.
Yeah.
And what we start to get is that little bit more volume at the front. So the front doesn't just sit flat against your face, right?
Yeah.
And you start to see all that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And you use the clay to basically emphasise that and give you that hold, right? Now just individually pick this up and let this fall. So. Right. Now let me show you how to grab some powder. And then the powder brings out the fluffiness and the volume and everything else. Okay, so the clay's already in there, the clay's set. As you can see, you've got movement flicks and everything like that, right?
A lot of texture now.
A lot of texture. And then what we do, we use this now as the kind of volumizing bit, okay? Not an awful lot, but a good amount. And then we do this. And that's what gives us the volume in the hair. So you've got the squareness in there, you've got the hair that flicks off the front so it's not sitting too flat. And then you can have the hair that is really messy, but you've got the connection, you've got the shape, you've just got all these little flicky bits at the front that create the volume that you need. So you can split it down the middle if you want, just manipulate it yourself, just off center if you want to, just something like that, a bit like the picture, you know, where his hair's kind of arched a little bit.
Yeah.
And then use the bits behind it to give you that shape and that volume. So your hair isn't sitting flat to your head, it's sitting more out, which is the kind of interpretation of what I thought you meant,
like
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've got that shape all the way through. And then obviously adding into that from the back, you've got your burst fade at the back as well. So it just gives you a little something different. You know what I mean?
Really like tailor the whole haircut.
It does, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
basically, yeah, that's exactly it. It is a very tailored hybrid haircut. You know what I mean? But as you can see, look at the front. The fringe isn't sitting on the face at all.
Yeah.
It's flicking out. So obviously, the more you do that, the more you practice that, the better you'll get at it. And I think you suit it loads as well, man. I like the square shape in it as well. Looks good.
Thanks.
You happy, yeah?
Yeah, very.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Thanks, Justin, mate. That was a real pleasure, that. Thanks very much, buddy.
Probably the best haircut I've ever gotten, so.
Oh, thanks, man. That's very kind. Thank you. I'll give you that money later for saying that. All right. Nice one.
Yeah.